In this lecture, we'll start exploring the timeline window to get our ship flying around our newly created level. Let's push pause on updating our environment, and we'll swing back to our environment a little bit later on in the course, incorporating some things like trees, bushes, and grass. But for now, let's incorporate some mechanics, systems, and features before we spin our wheels too much polishing our environment. In the Resources tab, you'll find attached to this lecture, you'll find a .unity package file called GameDev TV Spaceships. With this open, you can actually just drag this Unity package file directly into your Assets Project Directory section, and you'll get a nice little pop-up. Sci-Fi Asset Packs. You can actually find this full pack directly on our website. This is just a little teaser on what looks to be like about 7 or 8 different spaceships that we can use. Let's go ahead and import everything. Now, it looks like mine directly got put into my imported assets folder. If yours didn't, go ahead and just drag it in. Let's go ahead and open up this folder and see what mysteries lay inside. So in the materials and textures folder, nothing too fancy. We've just got a couple materials and textures to go along with the spaceships that we'll need. And we've also got a models folder. Inside the models, it looks like we have 8 different spaceships that we can use. So the way that I'm going to set this project up is that both blue and yellow spaceships are essentially going to be like friendly spaceships or ally spaceships, and the red and the white spaceships will essentially be the enemies that we're shooting down. Now, you don't have to follow exactly what I do. In fact, you could actually probably go on the Unity Asset Store and find entirely different spaceships that you could use. But for now, I'd recommend just following along if you're a brand new beginner. I'm going to use this yellow fighter as my personal spaceship craft that we'll be piloting. So dragging that into my scene, with that selected, I'm going to go ahead and hit F. It looks like we're going to need to scale it up just a bit. However, I would recommend pretty much never, as a good rule of thumb, just scaling up and down your models directly. A good rule of thumb would be creating an empty game object. So in this case, let's just go through a nice example. You can press this little icon and create empty, or just Control-Shift-N as we've explained before. And I'm just going to call this player rig. Now, this is not just for the player. We're also going to attach the camera to it as well, so that way our ship can essentially fly around our scene. But the root parent object that we'd like to create is player rig. And inside that player rig, let's actually create another empty game object that we'll just call model. This is pretty standard throughout a lot of different game engines, including Unity. It's a nice idea not to drag your model in directly under your root parent game object. You'll see this pretty often. And now, as a good rule of thumb, it can be nice to keep this model as a scale of 1, 1, 1, and then we can directly modify whatever skin, textures, or meshes we have underneath the model parent. So with that set up correctly, I think we're going to want our scale around something like 2. So I'm going to toggle this enable constrained proportions and just change one of them to 2 to get them all scaled up properly. And that's going to look about right. However, we're going to need to actually really explore this and see what it looks like in our game view. And we've got our camera way off in the boonies somewhere. So let's go ahead and grab our camera, and I'm just going to drag my camera directly underneath my player rig. Then I can actually just right-click my transform and reset that. That will set the transform to 0, 0, 0 relative to the parent game object. So you'll notice that now, because it's nested inside my player rig, I was able to transform it directly underneath my player ship. Now, you probably won't need to do this, but because I'm on a zoomed in resolution so that you can see everything properly, I'm going to change my aspect ratio to 16:9, and I probably even have to unclick this low resolution aspects ratio to make sure everything looks nice and crisp for you. But again, you're not going to have to do that. Just make sure your scale is set to 1x, and you should be able to see just fine on your own machine. So with my player rig selected, let's just kind of get this angled in roughly the direction I want to take off at. Something like there to give our camera a little bit of space. Now with my camera selected, I'd like to scoot it back exactly here, but you'll see it's actually a little bit hard because I can't use these X and Z axes properly. That's because I'm moving all of our transforms around the global reference. So if I change this rotation to be local, then I'll actually be able to scroll exactly back and forth. So if I have my position at 0, yep, right there in the middle, I can then just slide my camera back, slide my camera up, angle it down a little bit, and I'm not going to worry about it too much from now. We can adjust it as we go, but I'm going to want my camera roughly about there. That way our player ship can move around using the WASD keys a little bit later on. Now that we have this all set up, you can actually see what we're trying to accomplish come to life. We're not just trying to move the model of the fighter back and forth. We're not just trying to move the camera. We're trying to move both. Now that when we move the player rig and we fly around, there we go. The camera is smoothly following the player exactly. And we're going to set up our first timeline. So let's go ahead and dock that properly, and then I'll give you an example and explain a little bit about what that is. So here at the very top, window, I think it's in animation. No, it's not. It's in sequencing. There we go. So sequencing and timeline. I'm just going to dock my timeline right next to my console and project window. And it's going to prompt us to create a new timeline, except I don't actually want to attach this timeline directly to my player rig. I'm going to have this first timeline be my master timeline. So let's go ahead and do that first, and then I think I'll be able to explain a little bit better about what the timeline actually is. So one more time, creating an empty game object in our hierarchy. Let's call it master timeline. And before we hit that create button, let's just keep things organized and create a new folder directly in our assets root directory. So create a new folder, and let's just call it timelines plural. We'll put a couple different timelines in here along the way. So with that empty folder created, let's head back to our timeline window. With our master timeline selected, let's go ahead and click the create button. That'll prompt us on where we want to save this timeline. Great, we just created a timelines folder. Let's save it in there, and we've got the file name as mastertimeline.playable. Perfect. Let's go ahead and hit save. And there you go. We've created our first timeline. It's going to comprise of a bunch of different keyframes, basically frame by frame or second by second, animating what we'd like to do in specific positions. So for example, if we want to say, hey, let's take off the ship here at second 1, around here, let's move it forward around second 5, and then around second 5, we want to swoop in some different enemies, maybe waves of enemies, and then around 15 seconds, we want to move it around here, and so on and so forth. All right, well, let's dive in and get our hands dirty and give you an example. With our timeline selected, let's go ahead and hit this plus icon here and create an animation track. So go ahead and have a think. What are we actually trying to animate? Our player rig, not necessarily the fighter itself. So let's go ahead and drag in that entire player rig game object. You'll be prompted to create an animator on the player rig. Like we were talking about before, stringing together a bunch of different animators or animations together in one master timeline. Now, I like to have my timeline displayed in seconds. If yours, for whatever reason, is by default selected in frames, you can actually just click this little settings icon here in the very top right and just change this from frames to seconds. I find it a little bit easier to control. And we're now a movie director. So let's put your movie director hat on for just a second and hit record. Action. We are recording. With our player rig selected, I'll go ahead and select that in my scene view, hit F. We can start recording the position and the rotation of where we want our ship to go. Scroll out our inspector a little bit so you can see this position and rotation. You can right-click the position to add a key. Now, you could have wiggled it back and forth, and that would have also set a default key right at the beginning. I like to right-click position and just add a key as that default starting frame, which is going to be the exact same as our world view where our game object is. So let's do a quick little example. And just from 0 second to 1 second, let's just move our player rig up a little bit, kind of like we're just taking off. You know, nothing too drastic, something like that. While we're still recording, you can just hit the play button, and away it goes. You can actually see our spaceship take off. We're in business. Let's just move it forward from second 1 to 3 as well. So let's just kind of move this forward here a little bit. Maybe you could even actually move it up just a little bit as well, and let's try and see what that looks like. All right. There we go. We've got our first 3 seconds created. Now let's combine both position and rotation from seconds 3 to 5. So I'd actually like to position it in a way, so not only is it actually moving from around here to over there, I'd also like to rotate the ship. So remember how in our scene view, we were testing and pretending we were the spaceship? Well, you can actually do that directly through the scene view. Let's say we want our ship to be about here in the scene view. With our player rig selected, you can go up to Game Object. Let's pay attention to the hotkey, Align with View, Control-Shift-F. Let's go ahead and hit that and see what happens. Our game object that we had selected, in this case the player rig, aligned itself with where we were in our scene view according to our scene view camera. We'll get a little bit of a warning down here because we rotated our player ship, saying something along the lines that it may result in a misrepresentation of Euler angles. That's a little bit too complicated to explain for now. It's just a warning. Let's go ahead and clear and ignore the warning for now. We'll talk a little bit more about adjusting angles in the next few lectures. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Let's hit the play button. Okay, we've actually made a mistake. It looks like it's rotated already from the very beginning. I only wanted it to rotate from second 3 to section 5. So how do I actually delete this keyframe? You can see I actually can't select it. So let's unhit record. Nice little test, and you can actually open up the entire player rig animator directly just by double clicking this animator track on our timeline. So just double click here. On another monitor, I had my little animation window pop up. Let's just actually dock that right next to the timeline itself. It'll actually open up the animation that's directly attached to the timeline. So the nested animation, not to be confused with the animator attached to the player rig. So if you have your player rig selected and the animation window open, you won't be able to see that same nested animation directly inside of your timeline. So let's go ahead and open back up that specific animation by double clicking the track. And now we can go ahead and select these keyframes directly. And if we want to, we could actually just delete these 3 keyframes directly attached to 5 seconds. Now, I don't want to exactly do that. I felt like it was in a pretty good position. It had a good rotation. I just want it to rotate from 3 seconds to 5 seconds. So directly here on my animation window that is nested inside of my timeline, I can actually just add a rotation here to make sure that it's starting at that natural starting point. So outside of my animation, outside of my timeline, just directly here in my hierarchy, I want to copy paste this initial rotation value. Yours is probably going to be a little bit different. Don't copy me exactly. Just copy whatever this value was. And I'm going to hop back into my timeline, my master timeline, double click into my player rig that's nested inside of my timeline, and then right at this 3-second mark, open this up, hit the record button, and then once again, hit my player rig. You can see my rotation got a little bit wonky with whatever that is, but right around this 3-second mark, or this 180th frame if we want to be really specific, since it's 60 frames per second, right at this 180th frame, right at the 3-second mark, I'm just going to change this rotation value that got set to 63 and paste in my default rotation value. Now, I know that was a bit of a mouthful. It's going to take some practice, but now you can see when we scrub through our 5-second play window, it doesn't start rotating until the 3-second mark. So I can go ahead and unclick record, head back to my timeline, click play from the very beginning, and we'll see what that looks like. A nice smooth takeoff, and then right around the 3-second mark, it starts banking to the right. Wow, that was a mouthful for just that first 5 seconds. It's going to take some practice. So let's introduce you to this lecture's challenge. Animate the first 5 seconds of your player rig flying through your level. Practice the positioning, practice the rotation. Don't dwell on it too much. It can be a little bit frustrating at first, but I promise practice makes perfect. I'm going to give you some additional tips and tricks, especially when it comes to rotating in the coming lectures. So practice for at least a few minutes, but probably nothing more than maybe 15 or so minutes at most before you move on. Go ahead and pause the video. I'll see you back here in a few moments. Welcome back. How did you do? That can be a pretty tricky challenge depending on how much you played around with it. So one little tip before we go. I want to make sure you can visibly see your grid lines. I'm not sure if yours are going to be this light blue by default. I think it's in Edit and Preferences because it's a Unity engine thing and not a specific project thing. And let's just search in the search bar for grid under colors. Somewhere in here, down quite a bit, you'll see the grid color, and you can change the grid color in your scene view to whatever you'd like. So I like this sort of really light, almost tealish blue, but if for whatever reason you can see orange or purple a little bit better, you're welcome to change that grid color to anything you'd like, just to make sure it's as, opaque or as transparent as possible as you need. That way, while you're moving your ship throughout the next few lectures, you can have a little bit of a better bearing on how far your ship is moving relative to how many seconds we are on our timeline. Well done on this lecture. Once you've got your first 5 initial seconds set up, I'll see you on the next one.